How many times have you believed that one big decision would change your life? That one day you would start over. A new plan, a new version of yourself. But if that were true, why do most big resolutions fade after just a few weeks? The truth is, life rarely changes in loud moments. Big turning points bring strong emotions. But emotions don't last, not because you are weak, but because the human mind resists sudden change. Real change comes another way. It's quiet, so small that no one notices. It starts with steady actions, done when no one is watching. Maybe what you need isn't a big decision. Maybe it's a step so small you don't give up. Think about Daniel. He's 40 years old enough to know what regret feels like, and still young enough to believe things could be different. For years, Daniel waited for a big turning point. One clear decision, one fresh start. Every time he talked about it, he felt lighter. Like saying it out loud meant it had already begun. But when the conversations ended, nothing moved. The plan stayed in his head. Life stayed the same. Then Daniel noticed something. The few times his life truly changed always started quietly. After work. On evenings, no one noticed. Just one small thing, done again the next day. If you see yourself in this story, comment 1, just to admit that you're here. But what Daniel didn't realize back then was that praise can fake the feeling of progress. Every time he shared a new plan, people nodded. They encouraged him. They said he could do it. And in that moment, Daniel felt like he was already halfway there. The brain treats recognition as a reward, even when the work hasn't started. When the feeling of completion comes too early, the quiet drive to act fades. Not because of laziness, but because inside, it already feels like enough. Daniel didn't quit because he failed. He stopped because it felt like he had succeeded just by talking. And that's when he began to understand why so many plans die before they ever grow. Over time, this happened often enough that Daniel started to doubt himself. He wasn't excited anymore. He stopped trusting new ideas. Every time he began, he already knew how it would end. The feeling of failure didn't come from doing something wrong. It came from not understanding why he stopped. Daniel felt stuck, not moving forward, and not brave enough to start again. Quiet shame slowly grew. No one blamed him, but he blamed himself. Every unfinished plan made his trust in himself a little thinner. Maybe you've been there too. Not because you're incapable, but because you've repeated the same pattern too many times without seeing it. And if this sounds familiar, there's a good chance you see yourself in this. If that's true, comment 1. No explaining, no proving, just to know you're not here alone. Then Daniel met someone like that. Not loud, no long advice, just listening. The man didn't tell Daniel to change. He only shared a small story about 2 seeds. One seed was buried in the ground, watered every day. No one saw it. The other seed was held up high, praised, but never planted. Daniel didn't need an explanation right away. He saw the outcome before he understood the meaning. Some things need silence to grow. Not because they are weak, but because they are still young. For the first time, Daniel wondered if the things he wanted were slowly dying just because he talked about them too soon. It took Daniel some time to fully understand that. Not in one conversation, but in the days that followed. He started to notice how he lived. Every time a new intention came up, his hands almost moved on their own, ready to tell someone, ready to look for feedback. And then he stopped, not because of discipline, but because he remembered the image of the seed under the ground. So Daniel tried something different. He didn't talk about it, didn't explain. He just did it. In the evenings after work, he set aside a small amount of time for one very simple thing. No big goal, no long-term plan, just small enough that he could continue the next day. Without anyone knowing. At first, Daniel wasn't sure where he was going. He only knew he wasn't talking anymore. And that alone felt different. No one asked. No one expected anything. No one was waiting for results. The silence created space. And in that space, Daniel began to hear himself more clearly. Some days he was tired. Some days he wanted to quit. But no one knew to be disappointed. No one was watching to feel embarrassed. So he kept going. Not because of motivation, but because a small habit had formed. Daniel realized something important. When he didn't have to react to the world, his energy stayed inside. And for the first time in a long while, he wasn't rushing to become someone else. Daniel's changes didn't happen in one day. They came little by little, so small that from the outside, no one noticed. Each evening, he did just one thing. No more, no less. Just enough so the next day didn't feel heavy. Sometimes he did it wrong. Sometimes he had to start over. But this time, there was no feeling of failure, because no one was waiting for him to finish fast. Day by day, a new rhythm formed. Quiet. Steady. If you're changing in the same quiet way, not sure how far you've gone, but knowing you haven't quit. Comment 1. Just to mark that you're still going. When the first piece of work was finished, Daniel didn't feel excited. There was no sense of victory, just a strange calm. He looked back at what he had done. Not perfect, not very impressive, but it was real. For the first time, Daniel could tell the difference between two feelings. One was the joy that comes from praise, fast, then gone. The other was pride that comes from finishing something, slow, but it stays longer. Daniel didn't need anyone to recognize it. He knew how far he had come, and that was enough. Daniel's story doesn't say you have to stay silent forever. It just reminds us of something simpler. New things need protection. When you talk too early, the feeling of completion comes before action, and motivation slowly drains away. But when you keep it to yourself, work in silence, small steps have room to grow. The world doesn't need to know what you're building. It only needs to see what you finished. Maybe right now, you're holding something very small. Don't rush to talk about it. Let it grow through action. If this story stayed with you, share it with someone who needs to hear it. And if you want more stories like this, stay with the channel.